How many times have you been arrested?
I don't have an actual factual number.
Okay.
And how did you tell the mom that her son was gone?
So it's just competitive energy and things that you say about other artists while you're in hip hop culture.
One could watch this and think that you really hate because of the things that you post on Instagram.
And I die in the street about this shit, man. Mm-hmm. This shit get serious to me. And then when I do rap shit, man, this shit is full of this type.
50
leaks clips of T documentary, and it's devastating.
Can I ask who that is?
Yeah, that's Phil. Okay. Oh, that's his body. I felt that, you know, all of those rounds were fired for me, you know.
What happens when the internet's most notorious stops trolling and actually pulls the trigger? On March 5th, 2026, 50 Cent posted, then deleted, an Instagram screenshot with a single headline. 50 Cent reportedly developing Surviving T and Tiny documentary. That one post turned the entire rap industry upside down because this wasn't a meme. This was a warning to really understand why that deleted post hit the way it did. You have to rewind back to the moment that first cracked open this entire feud.
50 Cent and T.I. is back at it. 50 Cent jumped out there. He let him know that he's putting out a documentary, Surviving T.I. and Tiny. Man, listen to this. I'm going to play where T.I. told 50 that he was getting ready to do the same thing to him. And then now 50 announced that he did it. We already know 50 know how to.
It started with what was supposed to be a celebration. T and 50 Cent were in talks for a versus battle. That iconic platform where rap legends face off, catalog to catalog, bar for bar. T described it publicly as being about celebrating each other's catalog, a mutual respect moment that fans had been dreaming about for years. Two of the most decorated rappers of their generation, finally in the same room honoring what they built.
Okay, so first, like, you know, it was really about celebrating each other's catalog. Me and that nigga talk about that, bro. This shit, I ain't just called a nigga out the blue. Me and that nigga talk about that.
You talk about you and 50?
Yeah, man. We talk about this shit, man. This shit just come out of nowhere.
And 50 Cent did what 50 Cent always does. Flipped the script. He denied any agreement had ever been made. Completely dumb in interviews. Acted like the whole versus idea was news to him. And then dismissed T publicly with the cutting nickname King Rat in hip-hop culture. That's not just shade. That's a direct accusation of snitching. The worst label you could put on someone in the streets. He told T point blank to keep his name out of his mouth.
Because if you're telling, you can't even look forward to going home.
It's going to be hell.
Where you going after you get out? The neighborhood ain't accepting that. You bitch ass nigga, we heard you's a rat. Look, even for me personally, my character, they would try to attack my character. They'll say he a rat or he just a snap.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is ask him who I told him.
T was furious, and he didn't keep that fury private. He went on the $1 million worth of game podcast and said exactly what he felt. We talked about this, we said what we were going to do. When I jumped out there, he act like he ain't know what the fuck was going on. The trail was real loud and public. What made the whole situation sting even deeper was the timing. T single let him know had just climbed to no. 1 on urban radio and was crossing into the mainstream top 40. He was having a genuine, undeniable career resurgence. The kind that reminded everyone exactly why he mattered in the first place. And 50's dismissal landed right in the middle, casting a long shadow over everything. T was working to rebuild, but the social media call, that was just the opening move. 50 wasn't done, not by a long shot. There's hip-hop beef, and then there's the kind of war that stops being about entirely music. 50 Cent crossed that line fast. He went back to Instagram, the arena, where he has sharpening his knives for 20 years, and posted an unflattering photo of TZ's wife, Tamika Tiny Harris, the caption, doubled down on telling T to keep his name out of his mouth. But the real message wasn't in the words. It was in the target by dragging Tiny into it. 50 made clear this was no longer a rap dispute. He was going after the whole family in public, with millions of eyes watching every move.
At this point, 50 Cent should literally rent a wife and kids and have them make diss responses. And the fact that he would actually have to rent a woman and children to like him and to respond on his behalf for T.I. and Tiny's whole family is telling.
T wasn't going to absorb that quietly. He responded the only way a rapper of his caliber knows how, through the music and through it fast. He dropped several diss tracks in quick succession, including War and The Right One. And he came loaded on The Right One. He called 50 a small man in a big shell, a line designed to cut straight at the of a man who has built his entire brand on bravado.
That's when you got the right one. And be honest with y'all, man, T.I.'s a lyricist, man. T.I. was going. He was barring up on this one. He was barring up. You know what I'm saying? He brought up the Jadakiss situation, you know, when 50 and Jada went at it. Fat Joe, of course, Murder Inc. We all know how historic that battle is to hip hop. You know, the whole house situation, you know, with the burned down house, that whole situation, you know, you mad at Puff because he was going at your baby mom. So yeah, he was definitely throwing some shots at 50. And to me, at a point, and like I said, I'm a fan of both T.I. and 50 Cent. It gets to a point with like the memes and stuff like that. Like, all right, we're at its limit, in my personal opinion, man. It's time to bar up.
But the line that really set the internet on fire was T calling 50 a 5 o'clock dispatcher. A direct accusation that 50 had cooperated with federal law enforcement and claiming he had paperwork from men incarcerated in prison with 50 Cent's name on it. That's not a bar, that's a documented accused. The kind that echoes in places far beyond a streaming platform. And then the Harris family made a full-blown declaration of war. T Sons King Harris and Del Monte both dropped their own diss records aimed directly at 50 Cent.
I treated people how they treated us. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing that I wanted to do. It was just something that just had to be done.
Domani, also, you dropped a record. It felt more, did you get any inspiration from like, when I heard it for the first time, it reminded me of like Meet the Grams.
I would say, man, I just have questions. I just genuinely have questions. And I'm an understanding individual. And I know the reason people do certain things, it probably stem from how they grew up, how they was raised. Even me.
This was no longer two rappers trading jabs. This was a family mobilizing. For most men in the industry, that level of unified pushback would signal it was time to de-escalate. But 50 Cent had already moved to something far more dangerous than any Instagram caption or diss track. And the whole industry was about to find out what it was before. The documentary threat makes complete sense. You need to understand what 50 Cent had just finished pulling off. Because it is the entire reason the music industry went dead silent. When that screenshot surfaced at the end of 2025, 50 Cent served as executive producer on Sean Combs' The Reckoning, a Netflix docuseries that hit the culture like a sledgehammer. The series debuted at on Netflix immediately upon examining the sprawling sexual assault allegations against Sean Diddy Combs, alongside decades of industry behavior that the entertainment world had long whispered about, but never dared put on screen. With that kind of reach and visibility, it became the most talked about documentary of the year. And 50 Cent's fingerprints were all. Netflix later clarified that 50 did not have full creative control over the project, and that none of the participants received payment. But in the court of public opinion, those details didn't change the outcome. What mattered was the result, and the result was catastrophic for Diddy's public. 50 had proved something that nobody in hip-hop had fully reckoned with before. In 2000, a documentary is more powerful than a diss track, more long-lasting than a lawsuit, and more damaging than any amount of social media noise. It doesn't fade, it sits on a platform. It gets shared, it follows you. So when 50 posted that deleted screenshot referencing a T documentary, his caption made every person paying attention freeze mid-scroll. Remember how I got before the Diddy doc? He wrote, Dame thought I wasn't coming. The message required no translation. He wasn't threatening to rap about T. He was threatening to do to Clifford Harris exactly what he had just done to Sean Combs. Package the story, find a platform, and let the cameras do what no diss track ever could. And the title he attached to it, that made it even worse. The title alone was the weapon surviving T and Tiny. Anyone who had followed the entertainment news cycle over the previous several years understood immediately what that title was referencing.
But now, since 50 posted that he's doing the documentary, maybe you'll believe him. He just posted it this morning. But anybody in the loop knows that T.I. and Tiny have had several allegations of SA.
And exactly what kind of documentary it was built to be modeled directly after the Sean Combs' The Reckoning format. The rumored project was reportedly being designed to resurface the sexual assault allegations that had been publicly leveled against T and Tiny since 2000, pulling them back into the national headlines at the single worst possible moment for the couple's public standing. Gossip journalist Tasha K, who has a long and messy history with celebrities, controversies of exactly this claimed to have spoken to sources close to 50's team, alleging the project was already in active development. Those claims remain unverified and officially unconfirmed. But in the world of hip-hop drama and celebrity gossip, the rumor alone was already doing damage. And 50 understood that calculus better than anyone. That's why the deleted post was so deliberately constructed. He posted it at peak hours, let the internet screenshot, and syndicated across every platform. Let the headlines write themselves, and then yanked it down, leaving just enough smoke in the air to make everyone wonder whether the fire was already burning. The deleted caption also included a direct, vicious line aimed at T.I.'s promo run. I hope this doesn't mess up your promo tour. They're gonna ask about your 20 sexual assault cases. That line wasn't accidental. T had positioned his upcoming album Kill the King as his final statement, a legacy project meant to close out one of the most storied careers in rap history on his own terms. Every interview, every magazine feature, every radio spot was supposed to be about the music. 50 Cent was threatening to make every single one of them about something else entirely. And the legal history behind those allegations. It's far more complicated than either side wants the public to know. This section demands precision because the facts have been distorted in every direction by everyone with something to gain from the narrative. Spinning out of control in March of 2001. Attorney Tyrone of Blackburn held a press conference that genuinely rocked the entertainment world. He announced that more than 30 women had come forward to accuse T and Tiny Harris of forced rug kidnap, sexual assault, and intimidation, describing a pattern of alleged behavior spanning more than 15 years and crossing multiple state lines. The accusations were detailed and deeply disturbing, and they dominated entertainment news for weeks.
It's already been known that there are 30 women, at least, that have had allegations of being kidnapped, rugged, raped. Y'all know what those words mean. And 50 Cent is saying he got 20 of them in this surviving T.I. and Tiny coming.
The LAPD opened a formal investigation. Law enforcement reviewed the claims seriously enough to dedicate investigative resources and interview potential witnesses. After a thorough process, however, they declined to file any criminal charges, citing the statute of limitations as the principal legal barrier. Too much time had elapsed between the alleged conduct and the formal complaint for prosecutors to pursue most of what had been alleged. That legal reality did not amount to a declaration of innocence. It meant the criminal justice system had a narrow window, and that window had long since closed. On the civil side, the fight continued longer. But in August of 2024, a federal judge dismissed one of the most prominent civil lawsuits, with T and Tiny's legal representatives stating the court had determined the plaintiff had no viable claims. T and Tiny have maintained a consistent, unwavering position throughout. We are innocent of these fake claims. We will not be shaken down. The legal record closed criminal investigations, dismissed civil cases, provided them with real, documented protection in a court of law. But 50 Cent wasn't filing briefs in a courthouse. He was operating inside a media ecosystem where perception moves faster than any ruling ever will, and where he had already demonstrated in devastating fashion exactly how to control that ecosystem. Curtis James Jackson III did not become 50 Cent by accident, and he did not become the music industry's media operator by accident either. His evolution is one of the most calculated transformations in entertainment history. From battle rapper to multi-platinum artist to social media troll to full-scale documentary producer, each phase more dangerous than the last. In the early two, it was diss tracks that made careers evaporate. By the 2010s, it was Instagram posts, mums, captions, unflattering photos deployed with perfect timing to humiliate targets in front of tens of millions of followers before they'd even had their morning coffee. But by the mid-2020s, 50 had uprated his arsenal to something the music industry had no real defense against. The Diddy documentary made that clear in the starkest terms possible. It demonstrated that 50 Cent could now attach his name to a project that would sit on Netflix indefinitely, be served algorithmically to new audiences for years to come, and permanently alter how the world viewed someone. He had decided to target Netflix's clarification that he lacked full creative control and that participants weren't compensated did nothing to soften the impact. The outcome was the thing that mattered. And after the docu-series 50 let it be known that approximately 140 hours of additional footage that never made it into the final cut openly that he could push that material to YouTube directly. No network required no editorial filter. No approval process that wasn't idle chatter. That was a standing open threat with receipts behind it. And now the same apparatus was being aimed at T. The difference between a rapper dissing you in a song and a media mogul producing a documentary about isn't just a matter of scale. It's a matter of permanence. A song fades from rotation. A documentary lives on a platform forever. Becomes the first result when someone searches your name and follows you into every room you walk for the rest of your career. 50 Cent understood that better than anyone in the room. The question everyone was now asking, where does that leave TT? Is standing at a crossroads that no artist ever wants to find themselves simultaneously trying to cement legacy and defend a reputation that someone with significant resources is actively working to dismantle. Kill the King was supposed to be his farewell, a final bow from one of the most decorated MCs of the two era. The man who helped give Atlanta the blueprint before Atlanta gave the world trap music a no. One single, a full promotional campaign. The kind of victory lap a rapper earns after 2 decades of surviving everything the industry throws at you. Instead, every conversation about that album now lives under a shadow shaped exactly like 50 Cent. And 50 made sure it wasn't just the documentary doing the damage he dragged it into the music to. On the Power Origins themed song, connected to his long-running television empire, he dropped bars directly referencing the sexual assault allegations against T and Tiny, rapping, "Your daddy made your mama eat every box in Atlanta." There's no reading that as line anything other than what it is. A deliberate, calculated strike designed to ensure the allegations stay in every headline, every comment section, and every conversation about T's career for as long as possible. The documentary itself remains officially unconfirmed. No network has made an announcement. No release date exists on any calendar. But 50 Cent has earned something that most people in his position never do: the credibility of his own threats. When he went quiet before the Diddy documentary, the industry laughed. Nobody is laughing this time. So here is the question worth sitting with long after this video ends. Is 50 Cent a fearless truth teller, holding powerful men accountable for things the legal system was unable to touch? Or is he a man nursing a personal grudge, armed with a production budget and a platform, using allegations that courts have already dismissed ammunition in a beef that was supposed to be about a rap battle? The line between justice and revenge has never been this blurred, and T's entire legacy may hang on which side of that 50 Cent is actually standing on. Let us know your thoughts in comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video to support the channel. Subscribe to Hollywood TV for the latest celebrity news, updates, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Until next time, peace out.